Hey nerds, JJ Morris here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm very excited because I have another interview for you guys. Today I have author, director, and actor Jason Croot on the channel to talk a little bit about his debut book called How My Ego Screwed My Acting Career, and it is based on the true story of his life. So without further ado, let's welcome Jay Croot. Welcome, Jason, to my little corner of the internet. Thank you so much for joining me today. So Jason, you are, for anyone who doesn't know, you are, an author, an actor, director, filmmaker, and you wear many hats, and you have a very interesting story that you have told me. So before we get into I definitely want to talk about your acting and your, film directing and all that. But before we get into that, first and foremost, let's talk about what you have coming out.
Oh, I don't know where to start, really. I wrote the book. I've always wanted to write a book, but I did try to write several books, but I can do the outline. The outline's fine. The storylines, I can do that. And but when it came to writing a book, I couldn't get it going, to be honest. So I decided to write a book about my life, starting from childhood up until now. It's easy for me to describe what happened in my life, but for the reader to understand, you have to really describe it well, which is not easy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And so the title of that is How My Ego Screwed My Acting Career.
My ego screwed my acting career. Yes.
My ego screwed my acting career.
Yeah.
That's intriguing. First of all, how did you come up with that title?
Well, pretty much that's what happened in a nutshell. My career was going pretty well, and then my ego just took over me, and I started doing ridiculous things, and lo and behold, then all the opportunities stopped, and it completely screwed my career. So there's a lesson to be learned that the ego can take you places. Ignorance is bliss and all, but it can actually really screw you up, and that's really the essence of my book. That's what really happened. It's all the things that I put in there are are really it's really scary to think about what I've actually put in there, to be honest. I've not held back. I've put a lot of my life, my soul into describing my stories and telling everybody who's going to read it what happened in my life. Yeah.
So is there any fear that you have with this coming out, afraid of what people might learn about you, or what people might think?
I don't really care. Not that I don't care about other people, but I've got this attitude that you either like me or you don't. And not in an arrogant way. It's just I got beyond that sort of barrier of worrying what people think about me a long time ago. It really gets you down when you kind of you're walking down the street, and then you kind of am I dressing the right way? Do I look the right way? And you're very conscious of even though a lot of people think actors are very outlandish and outgoing and extroverts. A lot of actors are quite shy, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. I'm not saying I'm shy, but I'm saying a lot of actors are shy, and it's a difficult book. It might be a difficult book for some people to read, but I've tried to stay neutral. I've tried not to badmouth anybody, even though I would have liked to. So obviously I get a lot of legal action if I use people's names and I told the stories, exactly. All the stories. If I told them as they were, then I might have a few legal lawsuits against me. So I've had to change people's names. Just in that for that reason. But the stories are the stories, and if people don't like me, then say la vie.
Okay, so what was the first? What was the first? When did you decide? All right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write my story? Is there any inciting moment, or it was just kind of something you decided for a period of time?
Yeah, great question. Well, I guess it stems back to childhood. When I was at school, I had a really supportive English teacher. I was very rebellious at school. I was always in trouble, rapscallion, always the teachers, they kept warning me, and I was constantly in the headmaster's office, and so on. But I had one teacher who believed in me, and she said that she was an English teacher. She said I had the most vivid imagination when she read one of my stories that she's ever seen. And that really, really fueled me, and I wanted to go home and write. And we got given an assignment to write 4 pages, and I remember going home and I wrote 29 pages that night. And I took it into school, and I'm only supposed to hand in 4 pages. All my friends are handing this little thing, and I'm there with this, 29 pages, not a lot, but back then it was, I guess. And it was really, really, it fueled me, and I loved writing. But then it all ended the year after. I had a new English teacher, and he was not so supportive, and I was always in trouble with him, and then kind of killed my imagination in writing a little bit. Yeah. So to answer your question, sorry.
Way back in the school days. So when did you pick up writing again after that?
Great question. I was walking to a supermarket one day. I was really well into my acting at that stage. My career was going quite reasonably well anyway. I'm not going to say I'm Al Pacino or anything, but it was going okay. And then I came up with an idea about writing a film about a film, because, so many scenarios that I've gone through, people reading newspapers when they're just a cameraman reading newspaper just before he's about to film, a guy texting on his phone when he's holding the boom. I had so many funny sort of anecdotes and stories. I kind of thought maybe I should write a film, a little bit like Living in Oblivion. I hadn't actually seen Living in Oblivion prior to this, but a film within a film. It's not the most famous, or not famous, but the most sort of well-known genre. And when you try to explain what a film within a film is, unless you've seen one, a lot of people don't know what they are. So I kind of, I might wax lyrical in here. I'm going on a little bit. Would you say so I came up with this concept, and within a day I'd written the script and the story and the outline, but no dialogue. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And within 3 weeks we'd filmed it.
Oh, wow. That is quick.
Yeah, it was a real whirlwind, and it should have been disastrous. It should have been terrible. But it actually got picked up in distribution, believe it or not. It was a very low budget film, but it came out reasonably well. I sent you a link. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it.
Yeah, is that the La Fear one?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Okay. I watched the first chunk of that. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but it made me laugh. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah. And then I just started to, because I love improvisation, and I'm a great advocate of improvisation. I look at films, the Coen brothers and Tarantino, and I look at that dialogue and I think, wow, how do screenwriters really do that? I simply can't. I'm holding my hand up. I'm an amateur when it comes to comparison. But when it comes to using my imagination to write plots and storylines, then I think that's where my strengths are. I'm not a plotter, I'm an outliner, by the way. Yes.
Okay. And that came out, when did that come out? 2010, was that? I think
we filmed it in 2009, but it came out the next year. Yeah.
Okay, and then you had the one, Le Sequel, which came out in 2016, correct?
Yeah, it's a peculiar one. We filmed it actually in 2012, but we sent it out to have a lot of reviews and critiques, if you like, and it came back and it had mixed response. A lot of them were really good, but then we knew that we needed to tweak it and edit it, so we did. And then fortunately we won a competition where some of the clips of the film got seen by Larry Charles, the creator of HBO, creator of Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah, big opportunity. And he actually quoted, it was hilarious. So on the strength of that, we thought, right, we're ready to go. But then we haven't technically released it fully after that time, but hoping that we can do it this year, fingers crossed. When it comes to a book, you've got a great novel, or a play, or Oscar Wilde, a poem. It's evergreen. It's always good. You're always going to want people, regardless of their age, reading that and appreciating it. Kafka, all these great writers. But then you've got, of course, you've got books out there that are not great. And you've got films out there that are not great. But then we define what is great. It's all subjective, isn't it? So if I pick up a book or watch a movie and I think, oh, that's fantastic, and I tell my friends, and then they read that book or watch that film, it's terrible. So it's really subjective. Yeah, it's really subjective. We can't really define it, I think. Yeah.
Curious, because I'm not have zero experience in the film industry. I was just wondering how that all worked, and how you got into acting in the first place. Is that something you always wanted to, or do you kind of did that?
Yeah, it's a long story. I mean, I don't know how long this video goes on for, but it stems from when I was 4 years old. I went to the pantomime with my mum to watch Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and the actors on stage, is it anyone's birthday? It wasn't my birthday, but I really wanted to be on stage. So I put my hand up, but my mum, I come from a Catholic background, and she put it down, and she was scared, afraid that somebody might spot us, and so I kept putting it up, and she put it down. It was like, but I never got on stage, and I do recall, even going back a few years, crying buckets of tears. And she has said recently, actually, that I regret not allowing you to go on stage. And yeah, and then it's quite a long story, but a few years passed. I went to a grammar school, and I was going to maths class, and the stage was jumping out at me, and I thought, I really want to take performing arts. So I told all my friends. They ridiculed me, and they called me names, and I bowed down to peer pressure, and I didn't do it. So I got thwarted again. It was just like a never-ending story. Eventually, I got a dating program, which was quite famous in the UK, called Blind Dates. And when I walked on stage in front of the audience, I have never, ever felt anything like that before. And I knew that I'd found what I wanted to do in my life. So yeah, it took me quite a long time to get there, but I got there in the end. That's the start, and then it kind of built up from there. Yeah. And going back to the writing as well, I mean, there are some outstanding screenwriters, but often you'll receive a script, and without no disrespect to the writer, some of the dialogue is quite wooden. Because it's very difficult to write for somebody else that you've not met, and the actor then has to take it on. So when I first started out, I, rightly or wrongly, started to change the dialogue. So initially, I was speaking to the director. I said to the director, "Do you mind if we change this bit, because it sounds a bit wooden?" When I was starting out, and they said, "No, you can't. You have to stick to the script categorically. Okay. That is it. You cannot do it." So then I started to do it without telling them. Okay. And I won't say 9 times out of 10, but I'd say 6 times out of 10, maybe I got away with it. And I did get pulled back a few times by saying, no, it doesn't say that in the script. You need to stick to the script. And I do recall I did a film in Bulgaria, and I was playing, I was actually playing a writer, believe it or not. I was playing a failed writer. And there was 2 actors, I'm not going to mention their names. I was working alongside quite a few actors, but there was 2 in particular, and they really despised the way that I changed the lines. So really? I realized then it kind of, so when it comes to the end bit, everyone needs their cues, because if you don't have a cue, how do you know when to come in? So if I change the end of the script, then they are waiting for that cue. So then, I realized that if I'm going to change any of it, it has to be in the middle, or at least, when it's not near their cues. But yeah, I've got myself in trouble many times.
I was gonna say I heard from one or two of my friends who had done a little bit of acting. They said that it's always more fun to play the villain. Do you find that to be true, or do you disagree?
Great question. I never get the hero character. I don't know if it's the way that I work. I don't believe that there has ever been any film that I've been in that I was cast as the hero. No, I've always played the villain. Maybe the one that when I played the author, it was quite a light film. It was a dark comedy, but other than that, I would say 9 times out of 10, I play the villain. And your friend, the actor, is, from my point of view, is completely right. You can really get your teeth into that character. You can really scare people, and I love those characters. I really enjoy playing the villain. I think you can really get your teeth into those characters.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I don't act obviously, but I feel like it would be more fun to play the villain. I have some experience. I grew up dancing, so I have some experience, sort of, with like stage performance. But yeah, I always liked the darker roles. I feel like those were more fun anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Which type of dance then did you train?
Oh, a little bit of everything.
So. Very good. I've got 2 left feet. Yeah, I've got another story. One of my old agent, when I came from Yorkshire, I'd gone to college and they sent me the wrong diploma. They sent me a diploma for dance, okay, instead of drama. But I kept it. I thought I might find this useful. So eventually, after being in London for a few years, I got an agent, and she said, "Oh, what's your skills?" I said, "Oh, well, I've got a dance diploma." But then I think as I remember rightly, I said to her, "No. Just I told her the story. It was sent by mistake, but I believe that she forgot that part of it, because a few months later, she sent me for an audition. Now, sometimes she just texts me and say, "Go to this place." She wouldn't tell me anything. It was like a blank canvas.
Oh,
God. I wouldn't know what to expect until I got there. And a lot of the times we had a really good connection, like in terms of we had a good strike rate. We got a lot of success together. So that we didn't want to change that technique. And then she sent me to Pineapple Studios. It's a famous dance studios in Covent Garden. And sometimes you have auditions in hotels and you have them in different locations. I didn't think anything of it. Okay. So I got there, and then there was all these like dancers all dressed, professionally. Here's me in my jogging bottoms and trainers, and they're all like warming up. And then there was a casting director, the producer, the choreographer, and I'm there looking, and I'm thinking maybe I've got the wrong audition. So she asked the production assistant asked my name, and it was on the list. And I'm thinking, like I say, I've got 2 left feet. I can't dance. Okay, I've got a dance diploma, but I can't dance. Okay, I'm a dilettante, let's say. So basically, they put us into groups, and I was in like the 3rd group, and the first group they gave like some instructions, and they had to just follow the thing. And I'm thinking to myself, now, there's no way, even if I spent a year, could I ever do what they're doing. They were like trained dancers. And I was absolutely terrible at dancing. If I had a few beers with my friends, I could do a little bit of flamenco on the dance floor, but I was absolutely shocking. So I had to think on my feet. Being an actor, that's the beauty of being an actor. You can think quickly. So I started warming up. I started touching my toes. It was all just method in my madness. I knew what was going to happen. And then when it came to group 2, just before they started, I did a little yelp, like I pulled a muscle in my back. And I walked around the studio like in pain, like having a little bit of a pained face. And I pulled one of the casting director producers to one side, and I said, "I'm really, really sorry. I've been warming up, and I think I've strained my muscle." and I don't want to make it worse. And she's, oh, that's a shame. Maybe come back next time. I said, oh yeah, I definitely will.
Yeah.
And I made my excuses. And I left the audition, and that was a close shave. Yes. So
wow.
yeah, it was. Yeah, but as a dancer, you can probably understand that a non-dancer could not perform unless you are trained. You just can't do it.
Yes.
You can't do it. Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's a fantastic story, though.
Yeah. So yeah, I writing has been a real, like, how can I put this? A catalyst to get me back into acting. I've taken a while off. I screwed my career through my ego, and it kind of knocked my confidence because there were some great opportunities, and I blew them. So that's why writing the book has really stimulated me and pushed me forward to get back into my acting. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I have the. Do you mind if I read the little blurb, or?
Oh, please do.
Please do. That? Okay. I'm not a great narrator here, but I'm gonna try my best. All right. Jason Matthew Croot is a true Yorkshire man who shoots from the hip and says it as it is, and he does it his way. Croot is an actor, author, filmmaker, and rebellious hellraiser who has made a million mistakes throughout his life. He believes in taking the road less traveled. This book will take you on a journey beyond comprehension, beaming full of colorful, witty anecdotes, as well as many tales of woo, including being kidnapped and almost arrested in Greece, nearly lured in by a pimp in Italy, swindled in Portugal, stalked in London, and robbed and almost locked up in Mexico. So, if you're ready for a candid, hard-hitting, and truly unforgettable ride through the life of a true rebel, then come on in, and hold on tight. This book comes with a caveat. It isn't for the faint-hearted and includes explicit language, wild stories of sex, drugs, and partying. And if that doesn't make you want to read it, I don't what because I need to learn about you getting kidnapped and almost lured in by a pimp. But I'm not going to make you give any spoilers about any of those stories. But it just sounds fantastic.
Thank you for reading that blurb. But yeah, every time I go on holiday, or maybe when I'm filming, something generally happens. I don't know why, but it's usually disastrous. and it's one thing after another. I can't really go away on holiday and relax because I just kind of know that something's going to happen, whether it be almost arrested or lured in by a pimp or kidnapped. Yeah, so it was. Don't go traveling with me. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story, I suppose.
I would recommend it. Yeah.
Well, whenever I upload this, I will put all of your links to your book and to you as all your social media and everything. I'll put that all down in the description for anyone watching who would love to check that out. I'm sure. I'm very intrigued, and I'm looking forward to getting me a copy.
I've tried my best. I've given everything I can. I've put my heart and soul on the line. I've told it all my life story, and I don't get nervous that often. But when it comes to releasing this, I'm not sure what to expect or what the feedback will be. But yeah, I lived on the edge, and I guess that's just the type of character I am, and I do it my way. And often I upset people on the way, and I don't try to upset them. I don't go out to upset them, but I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be someone I'm not, and I don't want, I just want to be me. And often when you are you, not everybody gets you or understands you, and they don't understand why you did that, and sometimes I don't understand myself why I did that. But that's just the way I live my life, I guess. And I think it's the best way to be, because when we're living for other people, when we're conforming, because society tells us we have to do it this way, the 2.4 children, the picket fence, the mortgage, for me, that's not me. I'm living in a freezing cold apartment there's no lights. I've got like electricity's really not great. I eat beans on toast. No, there's no sort of, there's no sushi or cordon bleu. That's the type of person I am, and I'm quite happy living like that because money's not important to me whatsoever. But when we start conforming and doing things for other people, then it's all falsehood, and I really don't like that. I just want to be me, and you like me or you don't, and hopefully you do. But I know some people don't. Yeah, so that's just the way it is. Yes, yeah. But I appreciate you inviting me down today and having me as a guest on your show, and it's been lovely meeting you.
Yes, thank you so much. I had so much fun talking to you, and I don't usually laugh this much in interviews, so I had a lot of fun. And clearly, you're a very interesting guy with some amazing stories, just from the little quick anecdotes that you shared here. But yeah, thank you so much, and I look forward to reading the book and learning more about you and your stories.
Well, thank you once again, and all the best. And I look forward to speaking to you in the near future.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jason. And we'll definitely set up a time to do it again here soon.
All right, JJ. Take care. All the best. See you later.
Links to his book will be down in the description for you all to check out, along with all his social media pages and his website. I encourage you all to check out the book. I know I'm excited to learn all about the dangerous and rebellious stories that he has to tell in this book. So, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.